Makers. I'm Rilla, and I am solo hostessing today for Magic Making Mischief. And we're at a special time, obviously, but we have a very special guest today, uh, Steve Werblun, who y'all might know originally from, excuse me, I'm not used to doing it solo today, but who y'all would possibly know from being the courtroom artist of the O.J. Simpson trial, but he is a man of many talents. So we're going to talk about something specific today. We also have Scott Page, who was the touring saxophonist of Pink Floyd. So welcome. And today we're going to talk about the upcoming uh, movie, The Mayan Tear, that they're working on. But this is like nothing I've ever seen before. But before we get into that, get your wands to the ready, because we solemnly swear we're up to no good.
Always up to no
I've
good.
never.
Of course.
That was the most interesting intro to one of these podcasts I have ever done, and I've done a lot of these. So congratulations. That was definitely the most unique. All right.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Great job.
Kudos, Mommy. Kudos.
You should see whenever the three of us do it together. It's very well orchestrated.
Yeah,
Because we
well,
all do it. But
I'm
it's
sorry everybody couldn't join us tonight, but
yeah,
hello
I am
guys, wherever
too.
you are.
Sadly, CJ is a little under the weather, so y'all keep her in your prayers. She's been dealing with
Oh no.
she was dealing with some cancer treatments, and she
Oof.
was, if you haven't seen the post yet, they said that she has no signs of it in her system right now, and so
Good.
we're just
Good
praising God for
sign.
that. That's
Yeah.
Awesome.
yeah.
Good job,
Kick its
girl.
And you,
ass, girl.
my other co-hostess Yukita is at the rodeo tonight.
Yeehaw.
so, so she just sent us pictures of Dennis Quaid is apparently there with her. So I
Oh
was like,
really?
well, look at that. That's pretty cool,
And look
actually.
at us. We're doing this while a historic speech is going down on the other channels.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right.
Great. Unbelievable.
Our
So
competition.
Yeah,
there's a
we've got
lot going on
competition
tonight.
tonight, right? There you
Yeah.
go.
We got a lot going on tonight, but I'm so glad for everybody who's joined us. Right now, we got Jeremy Vander, who is the creator of our awesome special wands that we have.
Very
So,
nice.
hello, everyone.
Hello,
The art of the
Jeremy,
ride
wherever you
says
are.
awesome guest. Can't wait to see this film. Yes. Okay. So, y'all have been collaborating together with a number of people on the team in regards to this film.
Yes. Well,
So
first of all,
let's.
it is a film, but the thing is that it all came together because of Scott. Really, I mean, it's all his fault.
You're
And
blaming me?
yeah,
Blaming
You're
me.
you.
blaming me?
Yep,
Don't
it's
blame
all your
me.
fault. Yeah,
I
yeah.
didn't even know you were blaming me. Gee
Yeah,
whiz.
no, of course. You're the sole reason that we're here. For
Oh
So
my God.
years, Scott he has a band called Think X, which is performing here in LA on Saturday night. Actually, they're a Pink Floyd
Wow,
tribute
we're doing a
band.
gig this week. Yeah.
Yeah,
oh,
yeah,
really?
yeah. So,
Awesome.
yep, they're here. And anyway, it's a star-studded lineup of people. It's not just a band. It's like Steve Perkins from Jane's Addiction is a drummer, and
It's a
Norwood
really fun
Fisher
band.
from
It's a
Fishbone.
great bunch of
Wow.
incredible bunch of musicians. It's got a lot of spirit. And what we found, we did, I guess, and this is where it comes into what we're doing. We did 70 shows in a thing at a place called Wisdom, LA, which was a 360-degree immersive dome in Los Angeles. I had connected up with Steve during, I guess, just before that, I guess, on some other things from his art. And then he came to these shows, and we started talking more and more about this whole interactive, the next, sort of immersive entertainment experience. And so Think X was the band, like you said, Steve Perkins with Jane's Addiction, Norwood Fisher from Fishbone, Kenny Olson, who was one of the founders, original guy with Kid Rock, and then took the spot when Jimi Hendrix passed, took this place in the Hendrix band, great guitar players, and the incredible Derek Day, who we call the bird, who is like no other out there. We do this whole sort of exploration
He's
of Floyd,
amazing.
and it's
Don't
a
forget
really
Roberta.
interesting show. Yeah, and Roberta, obviously from she was my cohort on the Floyd when we played with Floyd. And so, Steve, we connected up during that, and we'd always talked about the interactive stuff. And he saw my love for immersive entertainment kind of experience. We worked on a project a bit together on just before COVID smacked. smacked us down
Yes, it
because
did.
we were actually right in the middle of working with a company that basically spawned out of Cirque du Soleil that had built the largest, basically the most advanced immersive theater, a movable immersive 360 immersive theater in the world, and we put it up. It was put up at what do you call it? The Rose Bowl. It was up at the Rose Bowl. That's it. It was
Oh
up at the
yeah,
Rose
right,
Bowl
right,
for
right,
that
right,
period of
right.
time. And then we were contracted in, and we were building a show called Another Brick in the Wall. Not
Aha.
another brick in the wall, but on what was it? Was called uh, 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 oh gosh, what was that they called? What do we call that?
I don't
Uh,
remember.
The,
You mean at the Wisdom?
yeah, no, we were doing Led
my
Zeppelin, Led
Oh, no,
Zeppelin, and
my brain went
matching
to
Led Zeppelin and Pink Floyd. It was
I don't remember the title.
God, I
Sorry,
can't remember it right now. I just did a complete blank. Anyway, it was a
you're
show
asking
that
the
kind
wrong
of mashed
person
that
tonight.
stuff together. We worked on. Steve came in, helped out some design. Since then, we had talked more immersive stuff for a while, and there we go. That was it. That was how we got started in
That's
this.
how we got started, and it was all because of these amazing shows that he would put on at this place. I mean, they had this incredible animation, and what it is, so that people can understand it. It's it's like it's beyond three-dimensional. It's like putting on a headset and being surrounded by film on all sides, up, below, to the left, the right, behind, in front of you, except you're in a theater. And it's interesting because Sunday night at the Academy Awards, the Oscar-winning director said one thing. It was the final word in the theater. He said, "What we're missing from cinema these days is the communal experience, where you get
Yeah.
together in a theater and watch a film together, and you all emote together at the same time." And I felt like he was talking to us, Scott, because it's exactly what we're trying to
Well,
do here.
well, that's the whole thing. Is like we're at a point now where you know what will people pay for? They'll pay for the relationship and they'll pay for the experience,
Right.
right? Because now we're at a point where we're moving into a different place. We're moving from the creator economy into what I would call the relationship economy. We're kind of moving where we're taking all of that creative stuff, but it's really about the relationship between. We're moving from large, broad, giant audiences down to what I'll call hives, smaller groups of people that have shared interests that want to make things. And so the opportunity to bring a more immersive, more unique experience to the people happens. And we're now at a point where the technology allows that to happen. That's like for me, like just a little bit about my background. My whole thing is really around where Web3 is going. The experience. When I saw what NFTs, people would go, "Oh, that's dead. That doesn't mean anything." But they don't understand what a non fungible token, an NFT, is, and what it actually represents for people to build new business models on top of by creating new experiences. Because as people might know out there, they might have heard of the word NFTs and tokens. Tokens are about to eat the world. Businesses, people have no idea what's coming, but it is coming. It is coming fast now. And the power of this to create experiences that now tie physical world and digital world together through owning tokens, because tokens can not only, they're not just like owning a little JPEG of something. Inside the ownership of that is the value of whatever that smart contract, which is part of what the token is attached to, and it can be attached to physical things. So now we have the opportunity to bring people in and have ownership and relationships and experiences like we've never had before. And at the heart of all of this is this new immersive experience. And that's where it kind of ties into what Steve and his team is doing right now, is actually looking at that. And now it all ties into cryptocurrency and the blockchain and all of this stuff that's going on around us that many people out there may not know. But it's important to at least start to be hearing and listening about this, because our world is about to change, and the new experiences is where we're going is now happening. And like I said, Steve's company and what they're kind of forging ahead with, kind of spawned with what we were doing, the last 5, 6, 7, 8 years in the immersive space is now getting ready to jump into the next level of all of this.
It's an amazing new technology. What I did when I went to see Scott, I had no idea what I was in for the
Yeah.
first night. And after that first night, I just kept going back. Fortunately, I saw it quite a few times doing this, and it planted seeds, in my head, that you've got to find a way to work together to do something with
Yep.
this, kind of technology. And then 5 years after that, a couple of years ago, well, to make a long story short, I met some very important people through a very honorable situation in my life. And one of them is a CEO of a virtual reality company in Montreal, Canada. His name is Jean Nicole. Hi, Jean. And he he wanted to work with me on something, and we didn't know exactly what. And we had a meeting one day where we actually brought again Scott in, and we discussed what was next. And they said, "Well, a story. You need a story." And I'm a screenwriter. I mean, I've written besides.
It's all about the story. Everything
It's
is
all
about
about
the
the story.
story.
That's right.
And that's why we became friends, because you can take a story and visualize it. And
Right.
and what I loved about the way you work is because of all that training you got through having to be in the courtroom and tell the story of the day through the visuals to get people across. And that's why when we start talking about all this interactive stuff and all this media stuff, you were like a
Yeah.
perfect
Right.
match to this type of storytelling, right? Because now the storytelling is changing in the sense it's always been storytelling, but the way we can deliver it and the ownership is what is a big part. People can now own a piece of it. They can be part
Right.
of it. They can
Right.
share. I mean, it's that the whole ecosystem is changing around. And at the end of the day, it's all about storytelling. So
Right.
I didn't mean to interrupt, but when you said the word storytelling, I just had to throw that
Well,
in
Oh,
but
no,
there.
that's
let me
you.
pop these
Go ahead,
comments
Rhonda.
up real quick, guys, before we get too
Yeah.
far. I'm sorry, I don't mean to interrupt. MMA Flicks and Chill says Wilburn and Page on Mombi episode. I'm so in. Geek Cred Trivia says great guest, and he comes back and says I want to see the Mayan Tier in the Vegas Dome.
Yep.
Okay, well,
So
coming up soon. So let me just tell you this now. So these people got together with me, and they want to, and Scott, and we all had a meeting, and we came up with using one of my scripts as a film to be made in this fashion. And I have one film that I wrote that's perfect for this, and it's called The Mayan Tear. It's a science fiction fantasy. And as a screenwriter, if you have more than one person reading your script at one time, you've accomplished something.
Right.
So I had 8 people reading this, and they all liked it, and they all went for it. So now the company in Montreal is, going to sponsor this whole thing. Now we're at the very beginning process of all this. I've just put together some, materials that we're going to use, Scott, to sell it. You'll see one when I get them here in the next couple of
Right.
weeks. But these are called pitch decks, and these will go out to studios and investors, and very important for what we're doing. But we are at the very beginning process of this, and because it's such a new technology and so incredible of a visual experience, an emotional experience, I don't think that it's going to be difficult to raise money for this.
Well, here's the thing: is what's happening is you got to realize is there's people investing in the infrastructure, right?
Right.
This is what's changing now. Is finally there was all the pioneers building the new stuff like the wisdoms, the places, but now we saw the experience at work, and now you have new groups of people, new technologies coming up with ways to, what I would say is it's almost like Airbnb meets an experience, right?
Entertainment or something like that.
Entertainment, right? It's like now there's applications that are coming out that need to connect to experiences where people can now go to, and there's now applications that will be able to drive it. But what happens is I can have an infrastructure, but if I don't have the content to get people to come in, it doesn't work, right?
That's absolutely
It's
right.
like the chicken and the egg problem, right? So we've all, again, the people that have been pioneering all this stuff are just doing it because they can see the future of the value of the experience. What's so great is finally the technology is catching up to where we need to be, because as the storytelling has been there and interactive entertainment. Listen, why I love what's happening right now and what we're talking about, combining the physical digital world plus ownership and relationship, and you can own access control of an event or experience that I can now rent or I can go sell. There's all these new business models that around this that will actually drive this even further, and we've gotten there now where the technology feeds that. So it really takes the storytellers like Steve and others out there to create the pieces to feed it. Like, even if you look at, let's say, like, look at the Sphere in Vegas, right? The Sphere, that's like $2 billion. Like $2 billion to build that thing. That's like crazy
And that's
stuff.
the ultimate place to show our films.
Well, yeah, yeah. I mean, it's like, it's great, but the issue they have is obviously recouping $2 billion in ticket
Right,
Right.
sales,
right.
and the fact is how do you feed the beast?
Right.
Right? How do you
No.
feed the beast? Because it takes content. So a part of the whole process is not just only making the content, but it's the process is how can I make the content? How can I make it cost effective? How can I build it in a way that it can actually I can execute against the storyline and still make it be profitable? There's like
Mhm.
a whole other world to all this stuff
That's right.
that
That's right.
needs to be thought through. And that's kind of where, in a sense, where I can actually be my help is from the background of building and doing this for so long. We now know we've taken all the arrows, the slings and the arrows, we've gotten pounded through the
That's right.
years. And you know how many false
By
starts
fire.
we've had in this space? We false started so many times. But the good news is there's a lot of momentum. We have a pro crypto president right now, which is so powerful, everything we're doing, because we are in a place where currencies, where we have an opportunity for the people to take back the power of the currency. We're finally there. Like, we finally have where it's not going to be, we can challenge the old systems because they aren't favorable for the people. We now have a systems in place. And what's going to fuel that system is the experiences that we can build on top of this new infrastructures. And it all ties together. It's how the payment systems work. It's how the ecosystems work, how creators can bring content in. How do we manage that content? How do we manage the relationships? All of that now is coming back to the power of the people. And that's one of the great things that we're having. At least we now have a group of people in place that are feeding what we're talking about and bringing that freedom of relationship and experience and actually the power of the currency back to the people. And it all goes through because now people with the types of businesses we're talking about, with what Steve's doing, we can have ownership of that. The
Hmm.
community can now have ownership at a level that we've never had before, which completely changes the power structure of ownership. Think about this. I believe, number one, that tokens will be the most powerful thing that levels the playing field for humanity we've ever seen. The reason is just imagine we can now distribute wealth like we've never been able to distribute before. And here's why. Imagine if you could just go, you're driving down the street and there's a building, there's a QR code. For the first time in history, you can take that QR code, you can go hit it and say, I want to buy $10,000 of that building. Ka-chink, I now am owner of that building. I am now that owner of that piece of media that Steve gets to build. So the whole infrastructure of how we distribute wealth will happen now. And thank God we have an administration that is seeing the power of this token to fuel economies worldwide. And this is why projects like what Steve's doing is so important, because it creates this leading edge strategy for a whole new way for people to experience and to own and be part of this new revolution which is going on, because now over time we have a
That's
cell phone, right? It's
that
crazy.
is really amazing. So, okay, I know we're actually we've gotten really well into our time. I don't want to miss out on a chance to find a little more about the storyline. We've got about 10
Yeah, yeah,
minutes
yeah. Go
left.
tell them about
Let me, but it's really interesting that there's a way to invest into it. Let me pop up these comments real quick that we've missed. It says Steve is a rare breed of artist. He can produce art that feels alive without it even moving. So I can't wait to see what his work looks like on film. And then also Jeremy Vander says, what's the projected date for the movie? So if you could give us like a short outline of the plot with the Mayan sci-fi theme that you got
Okay,
going on, and
sure.
then give us the projected dates too. That would be awesome.
Okay, well, the story is inspired by Close Encounters of the Third Kind, mostly, and of course, Raiders of the Lost Ark. But it's got its own story
the
to it,
hero's
and
journey. It's
yeah, well,
it's
there you go.
classic, man. It is the freaking cornerstone of storytelling, right?
I know, right?
There's only
So,
7 stories, and they're always the same stories. But go ahead.
yeah, well, no, but
Valid.
this one is a little different. I hope it's a little different. Basically, the Mayan tear is a stone, a power stone that the civilization of the Mayans discovered and used as a tool to transport themselves off of this planet to a better place, and that's why they're not here anymore. So, scientists find that stone, discover its power, and it's either up to them to let that power come to be for the new civilization here on Earth now, or put an end to it. So will people go off this horrible planet to a better place or not? And that's the story. And it's science fiction fantasy, which mixed in with all these Mayan artifacts and historical facts and things of that nature. But it's a science fiction fantasy film, and it's very long and convoluted, so I can't really get into the whole story. But that's basically the plot line of it.
A
Yeah,
basic outline. Okay.
yeah. Boy
So
meets
what?
girl, girl meets boy, hero
Yeah,
meets
yeah.
big. We go through the process. It's really the more about how the story is going to be told, right? That's really
Right, right. Now we just got to go watch it in this new format. And that's
yeah.
why I
Yeah.
thought to myself, when Scott said we really need a story, and I've written all these movies, in the past, I had this one, and that's the one that really was perfect for this, absolutely perfect. And so that's the one everybody's selected too, and that's what it's going to be. Now we're out raising money for it very soon. These pitch decks, they're basically display cases or
Oh,
books.
that fun part. The
Yeah,
fun
right.
part.
The fun part. So hopefully we'll get it together that we can have the film in theaters in about 3 or 4 years. That's my hope. So you're talking about 2028, probably 2029. And then there was another question that was asked. I don't remember what that was.
The I know the date was the main one. Oh, so
Well, that's all right. You don't have to go back over it. I know we're running out of time, so I just wanted to
no worries.
basically
We have a few minutes, but yeah. So I love the combination between Indiana Jones meets
have a
the
close
Encounters of
encounter.
the Third Kind. Yeah, Close Encounter. That's interesting. What inspired the Mayan theme to it, though? Out
Well,
of
it was
curiosity.
originally called the Pharaoh's Tier, and it was
Okay.
based on more Egyptian history. But as I got through it, as I wrote it and got into it more and more, the Mayans disappeared from the planet. Literally, they were gone. There's no trace of them. And as a writer, I thought that's a much better premise, because that's what I'm doing. I'm having a civilization prepare to launch themselves off of this planet, and there's not going to be any record of them except what they leave behind. And that's exactly what happened to the Mayan tribe. What happened to them? Well, I'm saying this is what happened to them.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. No, what can you do?
So there's going to be coming up. You're going to have an opportunity for people to invest into this. Is that something that you'll have up on the Facebook page for the Mayan Tier? Because we do have the link
Yeah.
below, but if you look up the Mayan Tier, it does have its own Facebook page out there, so y'all can learn more
Yes, it
there.
does. And thanks to my friend Jason Brazil in Texas. He's in your neighborhood. He's one of my producers, our producers now. I'll have to introduce you to him, Scott. And Yeah, no, we're trying to get the word out. We are beginning, to start financing very soon, and because the film is exactly what Scott, was talking about just a minute ago about a new type of investment. Okay, it's not only a new type of investment, but it's for a new technology altogether. And I think the combination of those two is a marriage made in heaven when it comes to investing in something. So I really, and frankly, I don't know a better spokesperson for Bitcoin and all that than Scott. He's been
Well,
into this for
you
just
know,
forever.
I'm a blockchain guy. I just think the power of what the blockchain's doing. I think the world's about to wake up to what's happening. Again, I'm just going to tell you, I'm a big Elon Musk fan. What he's doing right now, what they're doing, basically, they're going to bring in all this tech. This tech is about to eat the world in so many ways. We need somebody that really understands where we're going right now, and I think we're seeing that. And that all that ties into everything that you're talking about, Steve, because you cannot the whole experience level, the way we're going to uh, absorb information, we're going in experiences is right now at the cusp of all of this,
I
and
know.
we need to now understand the companies, the people that we're going to actually see this are the people that are going to understand how this all works. Right? You got to be in it in order to figure out how to navigate it.
It's
And
literally a
so
marriage.
that's where, for me, with your project, where I'm sort of helping, trying to make them understand is like, how do you position what they're building right now to take advantage of the opportunity, so that we can kind of show the way for the independents here on how to make things happen, right? In this new
Right,
economy,
right.
it's all new. The whole game's different now. The game's
Yeah.
over.
And
The whole
again, I
thing
mean,
is
I,
changing.
I only know about this technology as a
Well,
result of
it's not just
Scott.
tech. Let me just say this real quick. It's not a technology. It's a whole group of
That's
technologies
true. That's true.
that have to be integrated into the system. There's no one bullet
No,
that
you're right.
leads this thing. It's really all of the different technologies, understanding the Web3, the different layers. Bitcoin layer ones, layer twos, layer threes, how that fits into the experience for the actual individual, right? But just what we're seeing right now is we're seeing for the first time major companies and everything like Amex, American Express, all of that now are getting into this game of tokens and NFTs from a point loyalty reward system. What these guys are building now is also bringing this experience, bring the live aspect to it, but also integrating the experience of what the power of these technologies can do for the consumer. So it's a totally different experience level that's getting built into this, as opposed just the story. It's also the buy into the story, the experience of the story, which will be tied into the whole the whole kit and caboodle is where we're at right now, right?
Yeah, it's not just like buying a ticket anymore.
No, no,
Right.
it's
Well,
a
and
whole
that's
different game.
we get a comment here says Art of the Ride says when the community has ownership, they have direct impact. XRP baby, and I think
Yeah.
that's true. That's something that has come up lately a lot. Is an investment into something is being part of it, and it makes you feel like it's something special to it. Let me read Thomas's comment here real quick. It says
Yep.
love you all. Super excited about all the all of it. King of immersive, and then he also says. Scott has been the tribal chief of the community, the development of what the next generation of what a paper receipt could be. Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. That's
Yeah.
true. Well,
What a
I guess
paper
I
receipt.
hate
That's
to wrap
actually
it up.
really good. What a paper receipt will be, right? Because
yeah,
lately, what the opportunity is people now can invest into their entertainment. Imagine this. Imagine this. This is capable now. This is past. Imagine you buy a ticket to the show. Imagine you buy this ticket and you buy the VIP ticket. It's $1,000 to get this special experience that gives you access to the actual show in the event. Now, what happens is 50% of that $1,000 now gets invested back into the ticket as Bitcoin. right? So now I own this ticket. I paid $1,000, but it already has embedded into it $500 worth of Bitcoin.
That's awesome.
That Bitcoin now creates yield on a bi-weekly basis.
Interest.
Every 2 weeks, it's going to kick you interest off for owning that ticket, right? In Bitcoin. Now, Bitcoin goes from $1,000 to $1,000,000. Now that $500 has got a 10x. It's not 500 anymore. It's worth $5,000. But
Look at it.
the company or the artist that sold that ticket gets 10% of that yield.
Yeah.
Now they sold 10,000 tickets throughout their VIP tickets that were sold for $1,000, but $500 of it is embedded into that ticket that they own, which they get to ride that kicks off rent. They are investing now into their entertainment.
Yeah.
And
That is
then
awesome.
they can sell that ticket on the open market. So the
Okay.
whole game is changing.
I hate to cut you off, Scott.
No
Sorry, that is
problem.
awesome. That is awesome. We're gonna have to wrap it up. Our time is done. So thank you so much for joining us,
All
guys.
right, thank
Thank
you
y'all
very
so much.
much.
Definitely check out the Facebook page to keep an eye out for more updates. Also, Steve's on Instagram. Scott, where can they find more information about you and your band? And
Everything about me is I am Scott Page. So if you go I
awesome.
am Scott Page at I
You
am
got it.
Scott Page, you'll find me.
Awesome. And
All
next
right.
week we have an awesome new guest. This is going to be the voice of Angelica Pickles from the Rugrats, as well as a few other things. So y'all make
Nice.
sure to come back next week. And until next time, guys, get your wands ready and mischief managed. Thanks for joining
Thank you for
us.
having
Thanks
us.
for having
Bye.
Thank
us.
you. Thank
Thank
you.
y'all so
Great.
much for joining us.
Bye.
Bye.